Hello, good evening. Welcome to News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. My name is Shirley Annan. The Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, is expected to withdraw the controversial e-levy bill from Parliament and reintroduce a new one on Friday, February 11, 2022. The Deputy Majority Leader, Mr. Alexander Afenyomarkin, gave the indication when he presented the business statement for next week. He said this has become necessary as a result of the ongoing town hall meetings on the levy. The minority is, however, not enthused, calling on the government side in the House to come clear on the bill.
Electronic Transfer Levy Bill was presented to Parliament and read the first time on Thursday, 16th December 2021. The bill was subsequently referred to the Finance Committee for consideration and report to the plenary. The committee recommended the bill to be taken under a certificate of urgency. The subsequent processes of the bill, which will culminate into its passage, has been fraught with controversies and heated exchanges and fisticuffs in the chamber. The bill is currently in a limbo as there is no certainty as to when it will be taken through a second reading and consideration. Deputy Majority Leader Mr. Alexander Afenyomarkin said the sponsoring minister, the Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, is undertaking a sensitization tour of certain parts of the country to educate the citizenry on the importance of the bill. This, he said, has informed the decision to withdraw the bill.
They allow people to delay motions and resolutions taken after debates, and of course the Speaker, as and when the case may be, referral to committees may be made. So Speaker, the all-important e-levy which government seeks to use to transform our economy, hold our roads, and enable our youth start their business.
The minority, however, wants clarity from the ruling government on its intentions. Both the minority leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, and the minority chief whip, Mr. Muhammad Mubarak Muntaka, cautioned against being taken by surprise.
A bill introduced in this House by our rules and standing orders is referred by rule to a designated committee. And that committee is enjoined by our standing orders to conduct an inquiry into the bill. So with e-levy, I do not think that the Minister for Finance is a committee of finance of Parliament. I do not. And I will not accept any reason that he must do inquiry for and on behalf of the Finance Committee of Parliament. Indeed, if we are ready to let the e-levy bill as we wish, through a certificate of urgency, we really have the opportunity to consult the Parliament. So once the bill is referred to the Committee of Parliament, the proper place for an inquiry to engage stakeholders and the cabinet is Parliament.
If you are withdrawing, come and withdraw now, and tell us that you come up with the business. Now we know that the business was before the House, but we don't have to leave it lingering. The Speaker is using words like unforeseen circumstances. For those of us in the minority, the only conclusion is that we are trying to lay ambush on us. Because we are not certain with the things that you are saying. If you are certain, come and withdraw. You are all before the House.
After the withdrawal and reintroduction of the bill, the Business Committee is expected to program it for consideration the week after.
Veterinary officers from Tema have destroyed over 30,000 live birds affected by bird flu at Saki, a suburb of Punkatamanso. This is the largest infection in the district. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Dewanu was at the Delaware farms where the veterinary officers are undertaking the exercise.
That are here, all these live birds that you are seeing are going to be destroyed, and those that are already dead would also be destroyed together. And so it's a very serious situation that we can report here from the Delaware farms. The situation is not really good about 30,000 birds are involved, and we are told that it is the largest farm in the municipality. And so we'll be talking to the owner to find out from him how this whole thing comes to him and how he feels about the situation. He's joining us right now to tell us about how it all happened and how he feels about all these. Thank you, sir, for joining us on GBC News.
Thank you, too.
Yeah, we are told that this is the largest farm we have in the municipality. How does this come to you, being affected by bird flu?
This is heartbreaking. This is very heartbreaking, very, very heartbreaking, and difficult to even talk about. We weren't expecting this. Very, very hard to take in, but we leave everything to them.
Yeah. So, how did you get to know about this?
We started having some symptoms. They were dying. Like the mortality was very low, so we took it as maybe stress or change of weather or something. So, but later started coming up, so we had to call in the vet to come in, check what was going on. So he took some samples to the lab just to confirm what it was, and it came out positive that we had the avian influenza, but we didn't know as at which one it was, whether the H5 or the H9. So we were just hoping maybe it could be the H9 so that we could just get some antibiotics to just bring it down, but it turned out to be the H5, which is uncontrollable, so we just had to.
So what would you say in terms of the losses? How much are we talking about in terms of losses?
So far, what they did, the growers, we have about 8,000 growers down there, and we put in almost 400,000 Ghana cedis in there, and we've not had anything because they were just at the point of lay, and we had this disaster. So it's been very, very, very hectic for us for these fights, because these layers like this behind me, we spend almost 7,000 cedis every day on feeding. On a day on feeding, and Charlie, everything is going down the drain, and we don't even know what to do now. Yeah.
What would be your appeal? We know that government says he's doing some compensation for farmers who have lost their poultry to them.
We are just waiting for them. We don't know what they are going to say about it, so at least we are just depopulating them, then they will get their records and we take it, so we'll take it up from there. Sure.
We are grateful for your time, and we are so sorry for your loss. And so
you're still watching News live on GBC News. Wood sellers at Akwetia Line in the Asokori Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region are counting their losses as fire ravaged over 30 shops on Thursday, February 3, 2022. The fire, which reportedly started in one of the shops, spread within a matter of minutes to other shops. No casualty was recorded. However, several items worth hundreds of thousands of cedis were destroyed.
Akwetia Line Wood Market in the Asokori Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region is one of the popular wood markets in the greater Kumasi area of the Ashanti region, and also home to many headquarters referred to locally as Kayaye, who are squatters in the enclave. On Thursday morning, fire swept through the wood market, destroying over 30 wooden structures, including packed wood products and other items worth thousands of cedis. Though the cause of the fire is not immediately known, it is suspected that the explosion of a gas cylinder led to its intensity. Personnel of the fire service were on hand to bring the fire under control. The Menchia Fire Commander, DO1 Amos Aban, who led the firefighters, urged people in the area and affected victims to volunteer credible information to enhance investigations into the incident.
We have to be careful with the way we handle fires in our homes and in our offices. This is a time that we need not to joke with fire. Any little fire can spread to a major fire. So we also take this opportunity to advise the general public to be careful with the way we arrange things. At least if maybe the municipal assembly give out a lane for vehicles, maintain it, because that lane is there for a purpose. But people will intentionally arrange their goods there, and when there's an emergency, we find it difficult to move to where the emergency has happened.
Some of the victims spoke with GBC News.
Me didn't come by a judge container, no, actually, name Bibia man.
For me, Jiman, I had you a minute there. It's a happy patabacuna, Ewahano, Emenu, I didn't ask you. To do a pack one, meet me kindly do one.
Investigations are underway to ascertain the cause of fire which gutted a house close to the Kwame Nkrumah interchange at Circle between the East Cantonment Pharmacy and the former tobacco house. According to eyewitnesses, the fire started around 7 a.m. this morning, prompting residents to call the Ghana Fire Service. 2 fire tenders were deployed to help fight the fire. The cause is not immediately known.
According to residents, the family of the house were preparing for a funeral to be held tomorrow when an alarm was raised about the fire. Mr. Giovanni Geraldo, a member of the family, said they called the Ghana Fire Service earlier, but the officers could not douse the fire due to a faulty pump. A second fire tender was called in, but the situation remained the same until a third tender arrived to quench the fire.
Brothers went in there to turn off the fire with the fire extinguisher back, but the fire extinguisher wasn't turning off the fire. So we called the fire service, and the first one, the third one, when they came, I've seen that they've done something for the house to stop. So right now, all I can say is that maybe all my valuables in the house are gone.
Mr. Bigil Geraldo, who is also a family member, said the fire has destroyed everything in the building.
People were still calling. And then one fire truck came. When the fire truck came, it said the fire truck started to extinguish the fire from behind. So when it began, all of a sudden they said the pump was stripped, so water cannot flow anymore. So they were leaving. And then everyone began to shout at them, and then 2 more trucks came, which was this one. When it came, they connected more hoses to extinguish the fire, and part of the building collapsed.
The cause of the fire is not yet known.
News are live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. The 2020-2021 retirees of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation GBC are calling on fund managers GenTrust under the National Pensions Regulatory Authority and other stakeholders managing and regulating the Tier 2 pension scheme to come out with a transparent pay plan and pay what is due them in accordance with the procedure under the National Pensions Act 2008, Act 766. Speaking at a news conference on Thursday, the head of the 2020-2021 GBC Retirees Group, Mr. George Ankra, said there are abnormalities and delays in the disbursement of their money, which is being paid in piecemeal fashion. They want GenTrust to be transparent and give them what is due them after their long service to the nation. 2004, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority was mandated to regulate, manage and correct inadequacies of levels of pension of all public servants in the country. Of particular concern to most workers was the low pensions received under the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNITS) pension scheme compared to the British Colonial Ordinance, popularly known as Cap 30. The concerns of these workers were never given the needed attention, resulting in agitations by majority of public servants for the restoration of pensions under the Cap 30 in place of the SNITS pension scheme, which was introduced in 1972 as mandatory for all workers. The 3-tier pension scheme was born out of the recommendation by the Bediako Commission in March 2006 to replace the existing parallel pension schemes to workers. The first tier is to improve systems of SNITS benefits, which is mandatory to all workers in both private and public sectors and paid on monthly basis. The Tier 2 is occupational or work-based pension scheme, which is for all workers but privately managed to give contributors higher lump sum benefits than presented under the CAP 30 and SNIT pension scheme, while the third tier is a voluntary provident fund and personal pension scheme, which is to enhance pension benefits and also for workers in the informal sector. However, according to some retirees in most public organizations, after several years of contributing to the Tier 2 pension scheme, which is supposed to give them a lump sum benefit after their long service, what they get is disappointing. The 2020-2021 retirees of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation are unhappy about how the scheme is being handled by its fund manager, Gen Trust, because they are not being given what is due them. The head of the 2020-2021 retirees group of GBC, Mr. George Ankwa, is asking Gen Trust to pay them their lump sum as stipulated in the Pension Act 2008, Act 766.
For how long should we continue to be paupers, asking for support every day? Is it a crime to work at GBC? It looks as if a lot of things are going on at the blind side of government, especially the president, His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It is on record that our employer, GBC, paid our SNIT contributions for the first 5 years after the program or the scheme was implemented. The question is, how much was paid into the fund and how much interest was accrued? How much did SNIT give to MPRA, and how much did MPRA also give to Gen Trust to manage on our behalf?
A management consultant and a former employee of SNIT, Mr. Samuel Nkansa called on management of GBC to seek the interest of its employees by playing its role as an employer and paying its quota.
Under normal circumstances, Social Security is now under the new law, Act 766, is supposed to pay monthly pensions. And then the second and third, if you have joined the third, but the second must also pay what we call a lump sum. Is that what they find? No. When they showed me the statement was blank. Meanwhile, they send money into the account and tell them that, look, this is 80% of your money. And the question I asked is, what money? How much money? There's nothing there.
The retirees hope their concerns will be addressed. They are very unhappy about being paid their pension lump sum in bits and pieces. Meanwhile, a management consultant and a former employee of SNIT, Mr. Samuel Nkansa, has advised public sector workers to take keen interest in their monthly pension deductions and also follow up with their regulators periodically in order to correct discrepancies early before they retire. He also encouraged all to plan towards their retirement.
Responsibilities are spread. Your responsibility as a worker or employee, and then my responsibility as an employer. My first responsibility is to make sure that every month I pay your contributions deducted from your salary. I hope you get my point. Contributions deducted from your salary. It is yours. Then SNIT invests with interest. It's not free. Then the second tier, which is the lump sum payment, which is supposed to pay the lump sum payment, has also been given some money already to invest for over the years as you work, 5 years, 15 years, 10 years, 20 years, and then when you are going, they put all together and pay you one big lump sum. Then if you happen to join the voluntary, which is a third tier, and it could be anything, that could be anything, any private company, that second tier. In fact, most people convert their, what do you call it? You have a certain internal schemes, you know, which I think provident funds and what have you, they convert it into, exactly, they convert it into a third tier scheme. So all these things are supposed to be handled and managed and then supervised by NPRA. I know it's a very tedious job, but so far as it is within their mandate, they have to be responsible and make sure that all these are catered for. But unfortunately, from my own investigations, it looks like the second-tier pension scheme is giving pensioners a hell lot of time, most of them. Instead of paying lump sum, they've started dropping monies. 1,000, 300, 400, messing up your life.
It was her initial dream to wear a military officer's uniform, but that was dashed. Reason being, she had no formal education, so Fidelia Adogo made a detour into a male-dominated area. She became a full-time barber, but that was not without initial disapproval from her family. Despite their frowning on her chosen profession, Fidelia persevered and convinced them to give in. Today, she stands tall as one of the few women in that field, and with an eye for style. She says the bills get paid after a day of honest labor. On My Story, GBC News shares her journey from the Hong Kong taxi rank in Accra.
A barber for the past 10 years, Fidelia Adogo, a single mother of 3, moved to Accra from the Volta region in search of proverbial greener pastures. She vowed to herself that nothing would stop her from chasing her dreams. She says the idea of becoming a barber was to enable her get into the military, which was suggested by a friend. She sold sachet water and fruits on the streets of Accra, among other money-making ventures, to help her buy a shop to start her barbering at Hong Kong taxi rank at Kwashimang. This is because getting into the military wasn't possible without education.
I don't have a helper. Like, sometimes it's difficult to me to eat at a work site, so my madam has given me one day to go and look for money. I get a little bit money and I go and do the barbering, because my friend told me if I go to, I have a barbering certificate, I'll be able to go to military. That's why I went to learn the barbering. So after the barbering too, they say if you are not a secondary school, you won't go. So and that was the reason. That's why I came. My friend told me I can make it if I start working with this.
Every morning, she scavenges for empty sachets in her neighborhood for sale to supplement her income. Her clients are mixed. She cuts and braids hair for men, women, and children. Fidelia says even though the business has been successful, she faced and still faces some challenges as a female barber.
Sometimes it's difficult for me to them to understand that I can do it for them. When they came here, sometimes I'll be talking, I can do it. Sometimes too, the moment they saw me, that they see that I'm a woman, they just left me, they go. Sometimes I'll be talking, or sometimes when they see that I'm barbering somebody, that's one day the person will have patience to wait for me to do it. Without that, they won't allow.
Some of her clients told the news team that they were a bit skeptical about her skills till they tried her.
First, I was really surprised because I didn't know, like, anytime I pass by, she would be doing the hair. I'll come just spy and be like, this woman, is she a man or like she's a woman? So it's something even when you think of, you can't, I don't know if you know what to say, but trust me, she's very creative.
I really like the haircut my sister has done for me. I like the way she was able to fade the sides of my head.
It surprised me. It's overwhelming. So man, barbering, in Ghana, it's difficult. You can learn something to become somebody.
A slow day for Fidelia means at least 5 to 10 haircuts, while on a good day, her clients list is countless. Her daughter, Daniela Egbeku, said she is always proud to see her mother giving a haircut.
I feel happy when she's even barbering someone, so It's a surprise thing for me that you see a woman barbering a man. Even since I was born, she's the one barbering me when I was a little girl. I'll tell people that everything that man can do, a woman too can do better. I want people should come to Accra, near the Lost Pentecostal, so that they should come and barber at my mom's place, so that my mom will get man to take care of me.
Fidelia says any help to expand her business is very welcome. She has her eye on a bigger shop to probably offer employment to some interested youth.
I wanted to do something to support myself and my children. So please, if somebody listen to me or somebody hearing me, I want to go far, so I need your support. Please, to make Ghana proud.
Fidelia has no intention of putting her scissors down permanently in this male-dominated field. She is happy to compete with the men and actually enjoy what she does, and it pays the bills. Her plan for the future includes satellite shops in Accra. Fidelia wants to be an inspiration to young girls and women and prove to them that determination is a wake-up call to the human will, and success is always possible for the person who refuses to give up.
Coups are being described as becoming contagious in West and Central Africa. Over the past few years, there have been military takeovers in Mali, Chad, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, as well as further east in Sudan. At a webinar with stakeholders, a professor of political science and development consultant, Mr. Jibril Ibrahim, urged ECOWAS to step up its efforts at discouraging the military takeovers in the sub-region.
On 10th September 2021, the African Union suspended Guinea after a military takeover. On July 2, 2021, just about 2 months earlier, the African Union had suspended Mali for similar reasons. On 6th June 2021, the AU took a similar action against Sudan, demanding that the country be returned to constitutional order as soon as possible. Burkina Faso was also suspended for participating in any of its activities until the country restores its constitutional order. At a Zoom meeting with stakeholders from West Africa, a political science and development consultant, Professor Jibril Ibrahim, said ECOWAS should intensify pressure on the military junta in West African countries to restore their respective countries to constitutional rule.
It's important for ECOWAS to go back to its earlier modes of intervention when it was analyzing political developments and intervening once they see derailment of democratic processes rather than waiting till a coup occurred.
He said the arbitrary refusal of West African leaders to relinquish power and therefore truncating the constitution to extend their tenure of office accounts for the uproar in their countries, aside the increasing economic hardships.
When the second democratic wave spread, it was African leaders that met and took a number of decisions. One of the decisions is that no African leader would be allowed to have more than 2 terms in power. Yeah. We took that decision in Harare. Our leaders, nobody came to impose it from anywhere. And some of those leaders that participated in drafting that protocol later came and changed their constitution to have another term because there was nobody at any level trying to enforce these normative systems that have been developed.
Dr. Ibrahim named some countries that were successful without the intervention of the military.
Countries that succeed in keeping the military out are countries where there is sufficient mobilization of the civilian population to come out and stop civilian so-called democratically elected leaders destroying the democratic order. When they did that, in Senegal, when they did that in Niger, when they did that in so many of our countries, there was significant success, and they were able to push forward the deterioration or disintegration of the system.
The various speakers challenged ECOWAS to support member countries to prevent military takeover in their countries.
This is News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. We take a break. We'll be back for some more news. Please stay. Good evening and welcome. This segment is brought to you by MTN and Quick Credit. I am Dorothy Ajimai. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture is working together with the Ghana Tourism Authority and Cocoa Board for the 2022 National Chocolate Week. The event launch has taken place at the Tetakwashi Cocoa Farm at Mampong in the Eastern Region to celebrate and promote the consumption of chocolate in the country. It runs from 8th to 14th February and is packed with activities to encourage the consumption of chocolate confectionery, beverages and chocolate-infused dishes. It has the theme, Eat Chocolate, Stay Healthy and Go Ghana.
instituted in 2005 on Valentine's Day, which falls on 14th February every year. It aims to promote the domestic consumption of Ghana's chocolate and other cocoa-based products. It also aims to promote domestic tourism and give a healthy orientation to the celebration of Valentine's Day in the country. This year's launch, held in Eastern Region, is the first of its kind since the celebration was introduced. Setting the 2022 event in motion, the Minister for Information, Mr. Kojo Ponkroma, said among all the activities within the cocoa value chain, one aspect that requires attention is the local consumption, since Ghana's current per capita consumption, which hovers around 0.55 kg, is still nowhere near what exists in Europe and America.
It is for this reason that we deem it necessary to sustain the national cocoa consumption campaign at all costs. Let me emphasize that the numerous health and nutritional benefits of cocoa, as well as its associated socio-economic benefits, promoting local processing and consumption of cocoa products, will continue to be a priority.
The Deputy Minister for Tourism, Mr. Mark Okrekumante, said currently the popularity of chocolate and other cocoa products is growing in the country, meaning Ghanaians are beginning to understand and appreciate the health benefits of cocoa, which has also increased demand for high-quality, good-flavored cocoa products in various forms. The Deputy Chief Executive in charge of Finance and Administration, Mr. Ray Ankra, said Cocoa Board is ready to strengthen its incentive packages to help local processors and artisanal chocolate makers expand their businesses.
We have come up with guidelines to support small-scale and artisanal processors and manufacturers process cocoa to the tertiary level. Our doors are open, they remain open to all the entrepreneurs who wish to add value to Ghana cocoa.
The various speakers acknowledged the special role that cocoa plays in the lives of Ghanaians and its impact on national development. The Mamponhene Osaberi Makwame Otuodate appealed to the government to assist the Titekwashi family and the Mampon township.
Obi to good one as associate. Also was share womb. The Ubia Oji share womb. Mampong Equapim. And it is the Kwashi family, you know, she be our you. The messenger said, a bang on her. If the Busiano should be a what dear me, dear Bobosi, that the Kwashi the Cocoa Naba, now so young Fasubia.
As the mainstream of Ghana's economy, cocoa is the second leading foreign exchange earner, worth about 30% of all revenue from exports and responsible for about 57% of overall agricultural export. This year's National Chocolate Week will be hosted in Accra and Kumasi. Now let's have the interbank rates and commodity prices. Segment is proudly brought to you by MTN and Quick Credit. We have more news coming up. Please do stay.
Hello, good evening. You're welcome to the Energy segment. My name is Mabel Anang. The Institute for Energy Security, IES, has questioned the credibility and purpose of the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy. The Institute says the levy has proven to be an unrealistic strategy for bringing down domestic fuel prices. It was at the beginning of February 2022 that the government reinstated the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy, a policy which is to cushion losses from petroleum revenue in times of drastic reduction in the price of crude oil on the oil market. But the IES said 3 months after the suspension of the levy, domestic fuel prices have risen more than 9% to reflect rising international oil and fuel prices and the fall in value of the local currency. It called for a more sustainable and pragmatic response to the exposures from international oil prices and the foreign exchange market, one that goes beyond the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy (PSRL), since it has become increasingly apparent that petrol and diesel prices are likely to end the first half of the year at record highs. According to IES, petrol and diesel prices could hit more than 8 cedis per litre before mid-2022 if the price of crude oil and the depreciation of the cedi to the dollar maintains the traction on the foreign and local market. Ghana's overall hydrothermal and solar generation was 64.9410 gigawatt hours in the last 24 hours. Benin, Togo and Burkina Faso received 6.7192 gigawatt hours of power from Ghana in the last 24 hours. Here are some more details. For hydro energy generated in the past 24 hours, Akosombo recorded 16.4120 gigawatt hours, Bon 2.6130 gigawatt hours, and Bui 4.0642 gigawatt hours. Here is what functional thermal power producers contributed to the generation mix within the period. The 3 hydro power plants produced 23.0892 gigawatt hours. Operational thermal power plants contributed 41.5872 gigawatt hours, and total solar generation was 0.2646 gigawatt hours. Total power generation was 64.9410 gigawatt hours in the last 24 hours. For hydrology, the water level in the Akosombo Lake was 81.452 meters, below the maximum level of 84.73 meters, while the level in the Bui Dam was 176.150 meters, below the maximum elevation of 183 meters in the last 24 hours. Oil exploration and production company Tullow has set aside about $270 million to spend on the Jubilee and 10 oil fields as capital expenditure for 2022. This is out of the $350 million set aside as capital expenditure for Tullow Oil's oil field in Gabon, Kenya and Ghana.
The set capex for Ghana is contained in the company's unedited financial statements for 2021. Justifying the $270 million allocated capex, Tullow Oil said the increased year-on-year spent in Ghana is primarily due to investment in infrastructure for the Jubilee Northeast and Southeast areas that will lead to meaningful growth in production as these undeveloped parts of Jubilee are brought on stream from 2023 onwards. Touching on the company's 2021 performance, Chief Executive Officer of Tullow Oil, Mr. Rahul Deal, said 2021 was a year of positive change and transformation for the company with firm financial and operational footing. According to Mr. Deal, in 2022, Tullow will focus on building on firm foundations and investing in producing assets in West Africa. The process of increasing stakes in both the Jubilee and 10 fields will position Tullow to deliver free cash flow. Tullow is prioritizing investment in high return opportunities in its producing assets while ensuring the business remains self-funded this year.
This brings us to the end of the energy segment. My name is Mabel Anna.
The health segment of the news is brought to you by Lufat from Tobinco. Today is World Cancer Day, and as the world observes the day, some cancer advocates in Ghana have called on the government to upgrade the palliative care units of the country's health facilities to help cancer patients.
Statistics collated from hospitals in the Greater Accra region in 2021 puts the number of cancer patients at 1,972. The Tema Metropolitan Health Director, Dr. Sally Korte, said a lot of people suffering from cancer have not been recorded because of people's refusal to attend hospitals when ill. She said many people resort to self-medication, and so many of those suffering from cancer are not aware they have cancer. It is for this reason that the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, in collaboration with Add Life to Years Cancer Foundation, organized a health talk to educate people on cancers and cancer prevention. It was under the theme, Close the Care Gap. Various speakers at the event pointed to the fact that cancer is the result of many factors, including eating unwholesome foods, inhaling chemicals, applying dangerous chemicals to the skin, and many other unhealthy practices. A lymphoma cancer survivor, Mrs. Betty Bona, said the cancer survival rate in Ghana is very low compared to other countries. She attributed this to the inadequate medical supplies in our hospitals.
Family, loved ones of cancer patients, show love, show care. Don't stigmatize them, don't isolate them, don't think that they've brought so much psychological trauma to their family, but rather pull them close to yourself.
The Tema Metropolitan Health Director, Dr. Sally Korte, said some cancers are treatable in Ghana, except that there are not many cancer experts in the country, which results in some cancer patients having to travel to seek treatment.
There are cancers that can be treated in Ghana. Sometimes maybe the quantum of money that is needed, we are not able to afford. But there are some organizations that can help. And these organizations have links with certain hospitals, unfortunately outside the country.
Dr. Sally Korte urged everyone to take advantage of health screening to know their health status and go for early treatment when diagnosed with cancer.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Lufa.